PayPal announces major news. They just created their very own stablecoin. Does it really mean anything for the space? Is this news just another nothing burger? Welcome back, everyone. You knew that we were going to have to cover this. We got to dive into this PayPal news. Spoiler alert, I think it's a total nothing burger. And that is evidenced by all the other stable coins that nobody gives a shit about and that don't really change anything. Anyways, let's continue on with this because PayPal, PayPal has a history in traditional finance. And PayPal doesn't have a very good history in traditional finance. So let's take a look at this and let's see what this, is this really big news or is this just a giant nothing burger? Let's go. PayPal launches stablecoin on Ethereum, citing shift toward digital currencies. The new digital token will be pegged to the dollar and gradually made available to PayPal's customers in the US. So right there, we're seeing a controlled distribution, okay, or controlled access to their quote-unquote stablecoin. Paxos will issue the coin labeled PayPal USD or PYUSD. Issued on the Ethereum blockchain, PYUSD will be fully backed by US dollar deposits, short-term treasuries, and similar cash equivalents. So in other words, it's backed by Trust Me Bro. That's what it's backed by the Trust Me Bro technology that has been serving us so well. The shift towards digital currencies requires a stable instrument that is both digitally native and easily connected to fiat currency, like the US dollar, PayPal CEO. Bitcoin already exists. There's a whole bunch of other stable coins that already do and perform exactly this function. And again, not that I am a proponent of companies like Circle, okay, that have their USDC, but the reality is that there's already stable coins that are performing these functions. What they're not telling you, which we're going to explain soon, this has nothing to do with any of that, okay? This has nothing to do with, oh, it's moving to digital, this and that. Listen, at the end of the day, PayPal's revenue is sinking, okay? And they need exposure to new markets. And for them, a stable coin is a fantastic market where they can make money off the fees. Using PayPal's stable coin for purchases, eligible PayPal customers will not only be able to make transfers using the stable coin, they will also be able to make purchases. PayPal will also allow customers to convert supported cryptocurrencies into or from PYUSD. By issuing the stablecoin on Ethereum, PayPal said its new token should be useful to the larger crypto community. It doesn't even make any sense. It just goes to show you that these people just write random shit because at the end of the day, nobody actually uses Ethereum because if they did, they wouldn't hold it because the second they would go through the experience that I went through, okay, where my transaction disappeared because my gas fee wasn't high enough, which, by the way, the wallet didn't tell me the gas fee wasn't high enough. It let me send it first, and then the transaction disappeared, okay? So that's right. If anybody was actually using this garbage, they wouldn't be making these comments like the larger crypto community. Everybody just lets this shit sit on an exchange. Nobody actually uses Ethereum for anything. As an ERC20 token issued on the Ethereum blockchain, PayPal USD will be available to an already large and growing community of external developers, wallets, and Web3 applications, it added in its statement. So look, the reality is, okay, the reality is that I remember when PayPal made Bitcoin available, okay? And I remember at the beginning, they didn't have it available for withdrawal. But you see, companies like PayPal, they can't control Bitcoin, okay? Now, what they could do is they could just go fork their own version of Bitcoin, right? But that's obviously that's not going to look really good. But if you're building on Ethereum, then, hey, that looks like you're joining the community. Make no mistake, this has nothing to do with joining a community. This has nothing to do with usefulness of a larger community. What this does have to do with is capturing fees. This announcement is a clear signal that stablecoins, if issued under a clear regulatory framework, hold promise as a pillar of our 21st century payment system. When you've worked for public companies, it's very hard to take anything that they say seriously because first of all, that it's created by people in marketing, number one. Number two, it's also reviewed by an administrative assistant. And number three, all the words are changed to sound just so much better than what they really are, right? It's about the grandiose language to make you feel and think like, hey, this is huge. But it's not. It's not huge at all. Nobody gives a shit. Actually, when this news came out, Ethereum went down. So anyways, who cares? Let's continue on, though, because let's see what type of a stable coin they're building. This dude was the first person that I saw tweet this out at Pash Ovkrum. The new PayPal USD stable coin has an asset protection role, which can wipe your balance in 2 transactions. First freeze, then wipe frozen address. In smart contract security, we call this a centralization attack vector. David Joel Katz responding back to that nonsense. The centralization is that the value of the stablecoin is based on PayPal being legally obligated to redeem it for dollars. This mitigates that risk by helping to prevent innocent people, this is great, innocent people from receiving tokens that PayPal is not legally obligated to redeem. What? PayPal either issued the token or they didn't. There is no mental gymnastic where it's okay to freeze and take people's funds. But don't get me wrong, we're so used to living in this dystopian reality that we think it's perfectly fine. Okay? And no, it's not perfectly fine. And it also doesn't surprise me that this person was involved with XRP and then went off to create their own garbage. Just doesn't surprise me whatsoever. Anyways, let's continue on with some interesting takes about this. Ansel Lidner, a fellow Bitcoiner who does the podcast and the show Bitcoin and Markets. I suggest fellow Bitcoiners check him out. He's an awesome dude that has great information and great signal. So I think that his simple tweet explains it best. Those returns on stablecoin reserves were too tasty to resist. That's right, Ansel. See, Ansel knows this ain't got nothing to do with building a goddamn thing. This is all about the fact that they're missing out on these fees. Okay, that's what they are. They're just missing out on these fees, and they want to make sure that they can get their piece of the market. Granted, they are a business. I'm not judging them for doing that, but just be honest. Just be honest and say, hey, we're going to build this thing because we want to capture some of the fee market. But instead, they're going to put out the puffy language and make you think like they're joining the community and they're going to be building on Ethereum. Well, let's take a look at what they're building on Ethereum. Shout out to Sasha Hodler. Okay, let's take a look at this tweet. She just read the PayPal USD terms of service. Let's see what this building looks like, guys. Full KYC, custody by Paxos, tied to your PayPal login. Boom! PayPal can reverse any transaction, which they can do already with their product, which we're going to get into in a second because I am a victim of PayPal freezing my accounts for no reason at all, and I'm going to explain it. Claimed to be fully backed by actual USD. All the censorship capabilities of a CBDC, but launched by big tech instead of the government. I think that is absolutely a great take. I mean, guys, this is no different than any other walled garden. Okay? This isn't some freedom tech. PayPal isn't sitting there and pushing the envelope. Not doing shit. They just built a fee capture tool for crypto for themselves. That's all they did. That's all they did. Okay? Anyways, people think that this is going to kill Tether. So let's take a look at that for a second. PayPal stablecoin launch doesn't impact Tether, says Paolo Ardoino. The launch of the PayPal stablecoin doesn't impact Tether as the firm does not serve US users. Its CTO, Paolo Ardoino, told The Block, "We don't expect any impact on USDT. That's because PayPal stablecoin has been launched in the US where Tether doesn't serve." But when asked if PYSDC launches in international markets, Ardoino said it would be positive for the crypto industry in general. It's interesting. Another stablecoin in the US. It could lead to the erosion of the revenues for payments that have been mainly fueling MasterCard and Visa. Oh, look at that. It would also help the industry to grow further and push for sensible regulations. Again, here we are with the regulations, because they've helped us so much in the past, right? Look at how the regulations stopped the dot-com bubble from happening. And I mean, more evidence, right? Like, look at how the regulations saved us from the mortgage crisis. It just saved us from that. Almost went under. It almost blew everything up. But the regulations were there. It's not as though regulations were removed in order to cause the mortgage crisis. Anyways, let's continue. Wells told the block that PYUSD, which is issued by Paxos, and USDC will likely compete for similar customer segments who prefer to use a US-based regulatory stablecoin as opposed to the offshore stablecoin segment. But for PYUSD to fully compete with USDC, the former's listing on crypto exchanges will be needed. So this is going to be interesting. PayPal now is going to have to do like a whole bunch of other shitcoiners, and they're going to have to go and start essentially applying to all these different exchanges to get their stablecoin listed. Tether's USDT is the first and largest stablecoin in the world with a total supply of over 84 billion tokens. According to the block's data dashboard, USDC follows USDT with a total supply of over 24 billion tokens. And here's a nice little chart showing everybody essentially. You can just see how much is Tether. Okay. A lot of it is Tether. Now, again, it's not to say that, this market can't become, this market can't adjust, right? It doesn't mean that the PayPal stablecoin can't take any of the Tether market share. But it means, at least in my eyes, it has a long way to go. And as the CTO alluded, they're not even in the same markets. So there's a good likelihood that nothing changes at all for Tether, but I don't really care. I mean, stablecoins are stablecoins. Let's finish this up before we give the ultimate summary. We're going to take a look at PayPal and their history of freezing accounts. Okay, because I had my account frozen from PayPal several times, which I'll explain after. So let's dive into this. Why PayPal freezes or limits accounts and how to prevent this from happening to you. Well, the easiest way is not to use PayPal. They'll never block you or steal your money. After talking to my PayPal rep for over 30 minutes, they reassured me that it's extremely rare that they ever place holds on user accounts. False. And I'll tell you why after. They also told me that there were no limits on my account whatsoever and that I could process as much money as I wanted to at any given time. I was also told this. When I brought up the stories about my blogging friends and how they had their accounts frozen, the representative assured me that the reasons for limiting the account vary greatly from user to user and largely depends on the situation. That's right. It's your fault that they're freezing your accounts. You're doing something that they have determined is wrong. And so they are freezing your money because, as you just learned, when they freeze your money, it's not your money. Because if it was, they couldn't freeze it. Under the following circumstances, PayPal has certain triggers in place as a safeguard against fraud. Okay, as a safeguard against fraud. Here are some reasons why some of these safeguards might be triggered. You've received an abnormally large amount of money in your account that is way above your average. So because you get a totally different amount of money than you may have normally gotten based on essentially averages, right? So they just add up everything that you have based on how long you've been there or whatever it is, and they come up with some fucking random number and they say, hey, you got more than this. Boom, account frozen. It's nice. Someone has filed a complaint to PayPal about your business. Okay, that seems a little bit more legitimate, but I do think that there should be an investigation that occurs before your account is frozen. A series of chargebacks have been placed against your account. Your website has questionable content. You are in violation of PayPal's user use policy. For example, if you sell drugs or anything illegal, you may get banned. Your account information is not up to date and your account is not fully verified. Someone has logged into your PayPal account from a strange location. Your credit score is low, or something with your background history makes you a higher risk customer. It's your money that's in PayPal. It's not credit, it's debit. What the fuck does your credit have anything to do with it? Why does it matter what your credit score is? This is nuts, guys. This is stupid shit. They have detected fraudulent activity on your account. Okay. When I first moved to the States, I've explained this story several times, especially in previous podcasts. And this is one of the reasons that I've dumped on PayPal so many times. And I think it is such an absolute garbage product. So I moved to the States back in like 2010. And back then, the Canadian bank accounts, anyways, it was extremely expensive to transfer money between Canadian and US funds. Okay. So one of the easiest things I found to do was, because I already had a PayPal account because I did eBay. And so what I did was that when I moved to the States, I then tied my US bank account to PayPal, right? So if you could imagine, you've got your PayPal account, okay? You can add funds or withdraw funds from a Canadian account, and then I was able to add or withdraw funds from a US account. I mean, it's really simple. You can clearly see what I was doing. Okay. So I would transfer my US funds into PayPal. I would then convert it to Canadian dollars. I would simply withdraw the Canadian funds to my Canadian account so I could continue to pay my Canadian bills. And you were even able to see, the bank was even able to see that the money would go into my Canadian account and then immediately go to pay my student loan, or in this case, my line of credit. So clearly there was nothing nefarious going on in any way, shape, or form. And the dollar amounts were like $200, $400. In some cases, it was like $150. Like nothing big, right? You know what I mean? And again, nothing big. It's all relative, right? For me and what I was doing, it was nothing big. And essentially what started to happen was that my account, when I would go and try to convert the funds, after I would convert the funds to Canadian dollars and I would try to move them to my Canadian account, I would get blocked and it would say the transaction could not be completed. So I started to contact PayPal, and the representative simply told me, I see here, yeah, that we didn't approve your transaction. I go, okay, well, this has been, I've been doing this for years to pay my loans in Canada. I go, is there somebody that I could speak to? I go, because I'm not doing anything malicious. And he told me to hang on a second, came back and said, there's nothing you can do. And I go, well, can you please explain to me why this is happening? Can you tell me what rule I am breaking? And he goes, no, sir, I can't tell you that. And I go, so how do I get around this? And he goes, you can't. So they left me hanging. I mean, they simply decided for whatever reason that my account was doing something malicious and just stopped allowing me to transact my own funds. Keep in mind, my own funds from my account in the US to my account in Canada. Okay? This is all just going to me. This isn't going to anyone else. So as soon as this happened, this was another, and I was just beginning to learn about Bitcoin at this time, right? Like now this is like, I've been doing this for a few years. So it's like 2013, 2014, right? And I'm like, damn, these people are gatekeepers. This company is sitting there and is essentially holding my money hostage. So let's go back to the stablecoin. Okay. This company holds your money hostage. Okay. Do you think for a second that they are not going to do this with a stablecoin? I just explained to you what the terms of service were. Somebody in a tweet outlined exactly what the rules are. Guys, not only is this a nothing burger, this is just an extension of the existing financial system. This doesn't mean shit. It doesn't mean anything for quote unquote crypto. It definitely doesn't mean anything for Ethereum. All it means is that PayPal wants to get exposure to the stablecoin fee market. That's all. And they're using fluffy words like building and community to get a pass from everyone. All right, guys, that does it for today's clip. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will catch you all tomorrow.